welcome to Tea and Strumpets, a Regency romance review. I'm Zoe.
And I'm Kelsey.
And Kelsey, last week we mentioned kind of in the middle of our episode something that happened at the end of last year that Courtney Milan organized. And I just wanted to bring this to our viewers' ears if they haven't heard about it already, because we weren't recording in real time in the end of the year. So Courtney Milan, along with Alyssa Cole and Donna Herron and Bree Bridges, who are a writing pair called Kit Racha, they organized something called Romancing the Runoff, which was to raise money for the runoff elections in Georgia, which Stacey Abrams was working for. And Stacey Abrams, I don't know if all of our readers know this, is not only a politician, but she's a romance writer under the name Selena Montgomery. And so they kind of wanted to help her out and just do some general good work in the world. Because what Stacey Abrams has been doing in Georgia, and she helped flip Georgia to be blue, was a lot of it is registering voters. So they were raising money for voter registration and Fair Fight and the New Georgia Project and Black Voters Matter. So those were the organizations that they were raising money for. Anyhow, they organized a romance auction. And before the auction even kicked off, within like 12 or 24 hours, they had raised over $10,000. And $10,000 was like their initial goal. Anyhow, by the time this auction ended, they had amazing things in there. They had like an auction to play a game of Among Us with Tessa Dare and a couple other authors. You know, there were fun things like that. There were so many people donated items. I really wanted to donate an item, but I had a, 5-week-old baby. And at that time I was like, I don't know what I could donate. I'm overwhelmed, but I donated my money to them. So I just was so blown away by the romance community's response in general. They raised over $400,000 for these organizations. Yeah.
Wow. That's so impressive. Way to go, community.
$400,000 community for fair voting, for representation. And so for democracy, shall we say. So great job, Romance Landia, for just showing up. The things in the auction were amazing. I wish I'd seen one of them. One of them was like, I saw that one thing was a consult with a infant sleep therapist, and like a continuation of, I was like, what? I mean, there's just so many people who are involved in the romance community in general that donated. And N.K. Jemisin ended up donating. He's not a romance author. There were lots of other people who got involved. And then Stacey Abrams even donated a signed copy of one of her books. As she said, both Selena and Stacey would sign. So really cool, really fun. Things went for so much money. And it was so cool to see like items go for thousands of dollars and know that, okay, that item isn't worth X amount, but those people want to spend that much money to donate to democracy.
Yes, exactly. That's the whole point of those auctions.
It was just really heartwarming and makes me excited to just, and it just makes me so happy to be part of the romance community. So
yes,
bravo
absolutely.
To all of those people. And they don't need our bravos because first of all, they had never asked for anything. And second of all, a ton of news articles were written about this. But bravo anyway.
Yes. Good job, community.
Yes. So we're back. What are they? Our historical romance releases we just can't wait for. And
those things.
Something we didn't mention last episode, obviously this is not a comprehensive list, we said, but we didn't mention that we really do stick to, the European side of the pond here generally. We haven't branched out yet. We know this is our shortcoming, but it's also just the format of our podcast. We chose to kind of stay over in the British area. And generally, Georgian, Regency, Victorian was where we're going. So we'll see what this year does for us. Maybe we'll branch out to the States and do more than just Regency.
There you go.
So Kelsey, shall we take it away?
We shall. So, number 12 on our list is by Annabelle Green, and it is The Soldier and the Spy, which is Society of Beasts number 2, and that will be released on April 20th, 2021. And this is a male romance.
Ooh.
So they're always fun. I really like those. A beholden man finds himself falling for the war hero he's destined to double cross. 300 pounds for one night of protection. It's a job offer, but it's also a ruse. Captain Benjamin Frakes, war hero and de facto head of the Society of Beasts, a club for gentlemen who prefer gentlemen, is tempted to turn it down. But August Weatherby, the sexy, brazen stranger making the offer, has captivated him completely. August is hardly the flush flirt he claims to be, however. An indebted man desperate to save his infirm sister, August makes an ideal pawn for a lord eager to bring down the Society of Beasts once and for all. But August's charge to find evidence against Frakes is at odds with his own virgin desire to entice the captain into showing him the true meaning of pleasure. As August's infiltration pushes him deeper into the beguiling world of delights behind the Society's closed doors, he and Frakes discover new ways to push the boundaries of their own cravings. But with mounting pressure to complete his devious mission, August finds himself torn between the man his heart yearns for and the sister whose life depends on his betrayal. Ooh, that's a lot of intrigue all in once.
Yes, and I have not read Annabelle Green, but I'm really interested in more diverse romance in this time period, and so I really want to check this one out. I think it sounds super cool.
Mm-hmm.
So next, we have another fabulous title. This is Christy Caldwell's new series, The Wantons of Waverton #1, and this is titled Someone Wanton His Way Comes. And that is expected April 20th, 2021. And the synopsis is, widowed Lady Sylvia Elton is out to save young ladies from the terrible fate of love and marriage. Her former husband has retained his reputation as an honorable and loving man in death, but Sylvia has privately mourned his lies and infidelity. Joined by two equally scorned and cast-off friends, Sylvia establishes the Mismatched Society. With each new liberated member, the scandalous circle wreaks havoc on the romantic prospect of London's frustrated male peerage, but nothing prepares Sylvia for the Viscount St. John, a familiar face and her most formidable challenger. Clayton Kearsley, the Viscount St. John, can't allow these wantons to dismantle the marriage mart until he discovers the ringleader is his old friend's widow, a fine woman for whom he's carried a torch since the day they met. Thinking himself undeserving of a diamond like her, he introduced her to his best friend, a decision he now regrets deeply, knowing of the hurt she carries in secret. Now he is positioned to match his wits with this woman, who is determined to save young ladies from future heartbreak. And despite his misgivings, Clayton is entertaining fantasies that he could end their battle with a kiss, if only he had the courage to tell her how he feels, or the hope that she'd ever again let down her guard. This meeting of the Mismatched Society is called to order.
Woohoo!
I'm super excited for that one. I don't know. That one just it really kind of just sparks all of my favorite things.
Yeah, it has a lot of tingly things in there. That's very exciting.
Yes.
Smart, sassy women out to frustrate lords.
Yes. And
who want to just dominate. And then the guy who's carried a secret torch is like, oh no, but I love her, but she can't know that.
Yes, for sure. Well, we've got another great one coming up next. What's our number 14?
We do. So our number 14, somehow I ended up at 15. I don't know why. Our number 14 is Vanessa Riley's An Earl, the Girl, and a Toddler. And this is Rogues and Remarkable Women #2. And we read her first book, which was a lord, a something, and a baby.
Yeah.
A lord.
No, it's a duke.
A lord, the lady.
Duke.
Oh, a duke, a lady, and a baby.
There we go. We got it. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And so this is her second in that series, and this is due out April 27th.
Ooh.
Masterminded by the ton's most clever countess, the secret society, the Widow's Grace, helps ill-treated widows regain their reputations, their families, and even find true love again. Or perhaps for the very first time. Surviving a shipwreck en route to London from Jamaica was the start of personal maid Jemina St. Maur's nightmare. Suffering from amnesia, she was separated from her beloved toddler charge Charlotte, imprisoned in Midland, and randomly assigned her employer's last name. She was freed only because barrister Daniel Thackeray, Lord Ashbrook, mistakenly believes she is the sister-in-law he's never met. Desperate to unearth her true identity, Jemina's only option is to work outside the law, which means staying steps ahead of the formidable Daniel, no matter how strongly she is drawn to him. Married only by proxy, now weighted by shipwreck, Daniel's determined to protect his little stepdaughter, Charlotte, and keep her in England. But to secure custody, he must befriend the mysterious, alluring Jemina and discover who she really is. Yet the closer they become, the more Daniel is tempted to break the very rules to which he's dedicated his life. As ruthless adversaries close in, will the truth require him and Jemina to sacrifice their one chance at happiness?
And I'm excited for this one because we talked about Jemina a lot when we read the book, the Duke, the Lady and the Baby.
Yes, we were very interested in her tale.
Yes, so I'm super excited that she gets the second book because I know he's also the Duke had a friend that was an earl, so I think he had a little bit of intrigue around his story, so I wasn't sure who was going to be first. But I'm really excited it's Jemina. I really look forward to reading this. And Vanessa Riley has another book coming out, which I didn't add to the list, and I feel pretty bad about because it looked really cool. I believe it's called Island Queen. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's inspired by a real historical figure. So that's definitely one I want to check out as well. The cover for Island Queen is just like stunning.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Yes. So really exciting. Well, next we're at number 15 and we've got a favorite.
Yes, it is our longtime friend of the podcast, Julie Ann Long. I'm Only Wicked with You.
Yes, this is her Palace of Rogues number 3, and it is expected May 11th, 2021. So it reads, he's the battle-hardened son of a bastard raised in the wilds of New York. She's the sheltered, blue-blooded darling of the London broadsheets, destined to marry a duke. Their worlds could only collide in a boarding house by the London docks, and when they do, the sparks would ignite all of England. Nothing can stop Hugh Cassidy's drive to build an American empire, unless it's his new nemesis, the arrogant, beautiful, too clever by half, Lady Lilias Vaughan. The fascination is mutual. The temptation is merciless. And the inevitable indiscretion, soul-searing. And the ruination of them both. Hugh's proposal salvages Lilias's honor, but kills their dreams for their futures, until they arrive at a plan that could honorably set them free. But unraveling their entanglement inadvertently uncovers enthralling truths about Lilias's wounded, tender heart and fierce spirit, about Hugh's stunning gentleness, depth, and courage. Soon, Hugh knows that as surely as he'd fight 1,000 battles to win her, the best way to love Lilias means breaking his own heart.
Ah!
I know. Just the description. I mean, what? Yeah. So,
Man.
and more good news. More good news is that her 4th book in the Palace of Rogues series is also due out in December of 2021. And Julianne Long said this on Facebook herself. And if listeners can't quite tell, we have a guest on the podcast now. Sarah has decided to join us. She's eating, so sorry if you guys hear some noises, but that's a baby.
Motherhood. It's okay.
Yeah.
Anywho, so our next couple, I'm just going to go through real quick because sadly, no descriptions as of yet. But
no,
we don't even have titles. However, due out sometime, hopefully in May right now, is Scarlett Peckham's Society of Sirens number 2. However, it is untitled. So we'll just have to look forward to that because the Raycast, as you know, we loved. So we're excited to read number 2.
Yeah, and I think it might be Cecilia's book. Was that the character?
I can't remember.
I don't know. I don't know which character it's going to be. I can't remember if it was Cecilia or something with a C. My bad. I read that book in February, I think. And what else do we have coming out in May, Kelsey?
We also have an untitled book by Julia Quinn.
Yeah, and that one isn't attached to any series, so I don't know if it's going to be like a Rokesby's or a new series or what, but it's up there.
I don't know. I'm excited.
Me too. You want to take us away on the next one, Kelsey?
Right. So 18 is by Kat Sebastian,
Woo.
and it's The Queer Principles of Kit Webb, expected to be published June 8th, 2021. Kit Webb has left his stand and deliver days behind him, but dreary days at his coffee shop have begun to make him pine for the heady rush of thievery. When a handsome yet arrogant aristocrat storms into his shop, Kit quickly realizes he may be unable to deny whatever this highborn man desires. In order to save himself and his beloved friend Percy, Lord Holland must go against every gentleman behavior he holds dear to gain what he needs most, a book that once belonged to his mother, a book his father never lets out of his sight, and could be Percy's savior. More comfortable in silk-filled ballrooms than coffee shops frequented by criminals, his attempts to hire the roughly hewn highwayman formerly known as Gladhand Jack proves in equal parts frustrating and electrifying. Kit refuses to participate in the robbery, but agrees to teach Percy how to do the deed. Percy knows he has little choice but to submit, and as the lessons in thievery begin, he discovers thievery isn't the only crime he's desperate to commit with Kit.
Oh.
But when their careful plan goes dangerously wrong and shocking revelations threaten to tear them apart, can these stolen hearts withstand the impediments in their path?
Ooh, and I don't know if you remember this, Kelsey, but when Kat came onto our podcast, she talked about this book. She was writing this book. She was like, I've got one about a highwayman, and I realized his motivation was, this and that. And so, definitely, I'm excited to read this. I think it sounds really good.
Very exciting. I think it does too.
And with all this excitement, I think perhaps it's best we cool down. So shall we quickly adjourn to the parlor?
We shall.
So today we wanted to shout out one more time our listener Natalie's Etsy store. It's at Kiss and Let Me Tell You. She sells romance, landia, swag, and fun stuff. And so you guys should definitely check that one out. She's got all sorts of cute things, stickers, mugs, shirts with romance slogans and fun things.
Lion and Colin and Dane. Oh my.
I know, it's so cute. Definitely my favorite of her things. So if you want to check that out, again, she's on Etsy at Kiss and Let Me Tell You, and you can use the code T15 to get 15% off. And we, as always, will link to that in the show notes.
Yes. And if, again, we are suggesting the books that we're looking forward to this coming year, but if you have a book you're looking forward to, or just a book that you've read recently and you love and want to shout it out to the world, please let us know. You can send us an email at romancepod@gmail.com because we love to share listener recommendations. So hit us up.
We do. And you can find us, as always, on social media at T as in Tom, N as in Nancy Strumpets. We're there on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook /TN Strumpets, and YouTube by searching our name. And if you would like to help us out, we always appreciate reviews. Reviews help other listeners find us by boosting us in any searches and such like that. So you can review us on Apple Podcasts or anywhere else that you can find. We also accept reviews on Facebook. And our biggest review is actually your referral. So if you want to tell a friend that you think would love our podcast about us, we would so appreciate it.
Now, let's get back into those books we're looking forward to. We're starting to get most of the way through our list, so this is exciting, guys. So our next book is a much talked about debut author, India Holton, The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels. Ooh, that's just fun.
Yes.
And This is expected June 15th. A prim and proper lady thief must save her aunt from a crazed pirate and his dangerously charming henchman in this fantastical historical romance. Oh my god, I'm already like, okay, cool, what's happening?
Yes.
All right. Cecilia Bassingwaite is the ideal Victorian lady. She's also a thief. Like the other members of the Wisteria Society crime sorority, she flies around England drinking tea, blackmailing friends, and acquiring treasure by interesting means. Sure, she has a dark and traumatic past and an overbearing aunt, but all things considered, it's a pleasant existence until the men show up. Ned Lightbourne is a sometimes assassin who is smitten with Cecilia from the moment they meet. Unfortunately, that happens to be while he's under direct orders to kill her. His employer, Captain Morvath, who possesses a Gothic abbey bristling with cannons and an unbridled hate for the world, intends to rid England of all its presumptuous women, starting with the Wisteria Society. Ned has plans of his own, but most men have made one grave mistake. Never underestimate a woman. When Morvath imperils the Wisteria Society, Cecilia is forced to team up with her handsome would-be assassin to save the women who raised her, hopefully proving once and for all that she's as much of a scoundrel as the rest of them.
Woohoo. That one.
Oh, well, that has a lot of twists and turns.
Yes.
Interested.
Yes, for sure. And that one's got a beautiful cover. And I feel like this year is the year to be excited about Wisteria because the Bridgertons chose Wisteria to, like, you know, be part of that series. So, yes.
But who isn't excited about Wisteria? Where I work, there's a patio and it has wisteria vines all over it. And in the spring, when it's all blooming,
it's amazing.
It's so beautiful. I love it.
Wisteria is one of my favorites. And we plan in our backyard to do a patio in this one area one day. And I have told my husband, like, we are covering the pergola with wisteria. We're going to do that.
Yes.
Yeah. I should probably just buy a plant now and start it growing because it takes a while to establish. But yeah, Serafina agrees.
Yeah.
All right. Well, our next one is number 20 on the list, and she's smiling at me. She's very excited about number 20. But this is Mary Ballou, Someone to Cherish. This is Westcott number 8, so it's well into the series, but I still really liked this description, and I had some readers who have read the whole series who said that they were really excited for this one, so I definitely wanted to share it, and this is expected June 29th. So, when Harry Westcott lost the title of Earl of Riverdale after the discovery of his father's bigamy, he shipped off to fight in the Napoleonic Wars, where he was near fatally wounded. After a harrowing recovery, the once cheery, light-hearted boy has become a reclusive, somber man. Though Harry insists he enjoys the solitude, he does wonder sometimes if he is lonely. Lydia Tavnor, recently widowed, dreams of taking a lover. Her marriage to Reverend Isaiah Tavnor was one of service and obedience, and she has secretly enjoyed her freedom since his death. She doesn't want to shackle herself to another man in marriage, but sometimes she wonders if she is lonely. Both are unwilling to face the truth until they find themselves alone together one night, and Lydia surprises even herself with a simple question. Are you ever lonely? Harry's answer leads them down a path neither could ever have imagined. Aw, that one's like a little bit bittersweet, but also like I think we've all felt lonely at, you know, different times in our lives. So I think that one's going to really resonate with a lot of people.
Yes, I think so. I'm already like, aw. So number 21 is Tessa Dare, Love Letters from a Lord, which is Spindle Cove 5.5. And this is expected in July. So Sally Bright has a growing heap of love letters from a handsome lord. Unfortunately, none of them are addressed to her.
Yikes. And this one hasn't gotten a new release date, and Tessa Dare hasn't said anything about it, so I'm thinking that this novella is coming out.
Well, let's hope, because I love me some Spindle Cove.
Yes.
All right, and number 22.
Wait, Kelsey, 22? I thought this was 21 historical romance novels.
No, instead it is romance novels we just aren't excited for. Yeah. And who can stick to a number?
Yeah, we're giving you guys extra because there were extra and there were some that were untitled. And so how boring are those? Let's have more.
More is better when it comes to books. So Vivian Lauret, The Wrong Marquess. The Mating Habits of Scoundrels, number 3. And this is out in July. So, the wrong place. Elodie Parrish can feel spinsterhood breathing down her neck. That's the trouble with waiting for the Marquess next door her entire life. But Ellie knows if she gives him one last season, he'll finally propose. The only problem is her path keeps crossing with the arrogant Lord Holworth, who is convinced she has designs on him. The wrong time. Brandon, Marquess of Holworth, never wanted to be London's most elusive bachelor, or have a horde of hopeful debutantes and their scheming mamas follow him around. His past has left him too jaded to consider marrying any of them. At least, that's what he thinks, until he meets Elodie. She's quirky, opinionated, blushes easily, and drives him absolutely wild. The only problem is she believes she's in love with someone else. Ellie never imagined that one sultry summer could change everything, but the more time she spends with Brandon researching her book on the mating habits of scoundrels, the more she wonders if she might be falling for the wrong Marquess.
Oh, I love the title. Insert it in the description or the book.
Yes.
Hi, kiddo. Don't be worried. She's like, what are all these different voices you're making? She's like, normally we have nice, calm eating sessions. Well, now she's smiling at me like she wants to play along. All right. So let's talk about number 23, shall we? Which is The Duke Goes Down by Sophie Jordan. This is a new series by Sophie Jordan. This is number 1 in the Duke Hunt. So this is expected July 27th, 2021. Peregrine Butler's privileged blue-blooded world is rocked to the core when it is revealed he was born before his parents' marriage and therefore is not the legal heir to the dukedom. Yikes. Now as poor as the proverbial church mouse, Perry must use all his charm and good looks to win an heiress to save himself from wretched penury, all while ignoring his fascination with the one interfering and alluring chit who is intent on sabotaging his efforts. Everyone knows Imogen Bates, the virtuous daughter of the senile vicar. It is she who writes the sermons, and she everyone sees about all matters spiritual and domestic. A pillar of the community, she will protect her beloved Shropshire from all rogues, starting with the worst offender, the erstwhile Duke of Penning, and the bane of her existence since childhood. She vows to protect the local heiresses from being taken in by the silver-tongued fortune hunter because it's the right thing to do. Certainly not because she finds herself wanting to keep his heated glances and tempting kisses all to herself. Hoo-hoo. This is
very exciting.
And it's a little bit like the flipped thing because we can't really have a lady vicar, right? But this is, the vicar falling for the rake, right?
Yeah.
Kind of thing, and I am super into it.
Yes, I also love the whole idea of he was the duke or he's the heir to the dukedom, and then it's like, oh, but he's not actually illegal.
Yeah, that's a fun one. We had one last year like that too, and I really like that trope. So cool. But I will be honest, I'm even more excited for the next one.
Yes, our next one is Elisa Kleypas, Devil in Disguise, The Ravenels, number 7. So, Lady Merritt Sterling, a strong-willed young widow who's running her late husband's shipping company, knows London society is dying to catch her in a scandal. So far, she's been too smart to provide them with one. But when she meets Keir MacRae, a rough and rugged Scottish whiskey distiller, all her sensible plans vanish like smoke. They couldn't be more different, but their attraction is powerful, raw, and irresistible. From the moment Keir MacRae arrives in London, he has 2 goals. 1, don't fall in love with the dazzling Lady Merritt Sterling. 2, avoid being killed. So far, neither of those is going well. Keir doesn't know why someone wants him dead until fate reveals his secret connection to one of England's most powerful families. His world is thrown into upheaval, and the only one he trusts is Merritt. Their passion blazes with an intensity Merritt has never known before, making her long for the one thing she can't have from Keir MacRae forever. As danger draws closer, she'll do whatever it takes to save the man she loves, even knowing he might be the devil in disguise.
We have another title in the description.
Yes. And this For those who have read the Ravenels, this is Marcus and Lillian's oldest daughter.
And they are actually from the Wallflowers, Lisa Kleypas's Wallflower series. Remember, Lillian is the American heiress from the first book. So this, I'm not really sure how it's part of the Ravenels, but I'm assuming, well, I guess we had another Ravenel. Phoebe was from the Wallflowers. She was a daughter of one of the Wallflowers. She's the daughter of Sebastian and Evie. Right?
Yeah.
So we definitely have some overlap in this series. Yes, I agree. So I'm excited for this because Lillian is a troublemaker, so you can only imagine that Merritt is too.
Yes, I'm very excited.
All right. Well, we go from one giant to another because our next book is unfortunately as to yet untitled, but it is Sarah McLean, and it is her Hell's Bells #1. And that is expected in August 24th, 2021. And I found this information about it, and I wanted to share it. So, in a 4-book, high 6-figure deal, Sarah McLean re-upped with Avon Books. Through the agreement, McLean will pen a series titled Hell's Bells about a gang of women in the Victorian era who, the publisher said, are hell-bent on smashing the patriarchy in all corners of London, from glittering ballrooms to dark alleys. According to Sarah, this series will, quote, focus on a Victorian-era girl gang able to fix any problem for a price. Okay, I agree. I know, it's exciting. So get ready for familiar faces, but you'll have to wait to find out which ones.
Woohoo! I'm excited.
I also love a high 6-figure deal. Like, hell yeah, Sarah, get it.
Yeah, get it.
For sure. So I'm excited for these Hell's Bells. I also can't believe that no one has written a series yet called with the Hell's Bells series.
I know. Hell's Bells is so great. And number 26 on our list is from a favorite of ours, and I think the last one on our list, but it is Evie Dunmore's Portrait of a Scotsman, A League of Extraordinary Women #3. And this is expected September 7th, just after my birthday, so that's very exciting. Going toe-to-toe with a brooding Scotsman is rather bold for a respectable suffragist, but when he happens to be one's unexpected husband, what else is an unwilling bride to do? London banking heiress Hattie Greenfield wanted just 3 things in life: acclaim as an artist, a noble cause, marriage to a young lord who puts the gentle in gentlemen. Why, then, does this Oxford scholar find herself at the altar with the darkly attractive financier Lucian Blackstone, whose murky past and ruthless business practices strike fear in the hearts of Britain's peerage? Trust Hattie to take an invigorating little adventure too far. Now she's stuck with a curlish Scot who just might be the end of her ambitions. When the daughter of his business rival all but falls into his lap, Lucian sees opportunity. As a self-made man, he has vast wealth but holds little power, and Hattie might be the key to finally setting long-harbored political plans in motion. Driven by an old revenge, he has no room for his new wife's apprehensions or romantic notions, bewitching as he finds her. But a sudden journey to Scotland paints everything in a different light. Hattie slowly sees the real Lucian and realizes she could win everything, as long as she is prepared to lose her heart.
Ooh-wee, another scorcher from Evie Dunmore. And you have finished her second book in that series, I believe. You really loved it, didn't you?
I really, really loved it. I really loved it. I thought her ending was perfect for the couple, and I really enjoyed it. I gobbled it up.
I started that book the week that Sarah was born, and I haven't finished it yet, so forgive me. Not that it wasn't good, but just that I have not been able to really focus and read a book yet, but I'm very close. But that kind of brings us perfectly into our wrap-up here, because I wanted to talk to our listeners a little bit about our schedule, because starting this year, just because I've got a kid and this is a hobby, we probably won't be doing weekly episodes anymore. So I'm sorry that, your weekly schedule will get a little bit bumpy, but we do plan to do somewhere between 2 and 4 episodes a month. That's our hope.
Yeah,
and we'll see how it goes. We are going to be doing all of the Bridgerton TV episodes. We didn't even talk about the Bridgerton
I know, we
TV
haven't
show.
even talked about
How
that yet.
did we not? But we're going to be talking about it so much that we'll try to keep it out of the other episodes.
Exactly. Don't worry. But we have some fun things around that planned for the future. So stay tuned.
And I wanted to give an honorable mention here. We mentioned this before, but Adriana Herrera has that Las Leonas series about the Afro-Latinx heiresses at the Paris World's Fair. I couldn't find any release dates for that, so I don't know if we're going to be getting the first book of that this year, but I am certainly hopeful because you and I are both very excited for that.
Yes, we are. That is definitely something we're super excited about. Yeah, so what are we reading next?
So next, we're going to be reading a Pennyroyal Green book. It is...
Yay! Just back to a familiar friend
Yeah.
to start the year.
I think it's number 9 in the series. I'm pretty
we're
sure it's
definitely
number
getting up
9.
there.
It is Between the Devil and Ian Eversey. So back to the Eversey clan, seeing what Ian is getting up to.
Absolutely. And also, we will be on the Big Gay Fiction podcast with Jeff and Will.
Yeah, I think that episode is set to air January 18th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. I believe that's what they told us. So if you have never listened to Jeff and Will, we highly recommend you do. We had them on our podcast last January. So now they are having us on their podcast this January.
Yeah, and we're going to be talking all about historical romance. And that's going to be super fun. So I am really excited to share that combo with you. So if we aren't doing every week, we've at least got something else out there for you to enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. So you can head on over to the Big Gay Fiction podcast January 18th to hear us over there.
And I just wanted to mention too, like last year, we do this big list and our last book is in September. So there's always a ton of like Christmas anthologies that are announced later. And Eva Lee maybe said something out of my dreams and your dreams. She talked about writing a Hanukkah Regency novella or Victorian novella. And I'm super crossing my fingers that it happens. She kind of basically said it's happening, that she already has it plotted out, maybe. I can't remember exactly, but so no promises, but I am super hopeful that she'll do it right. I know that she is of Jewish heritage as well.
Yes. I also would like to mention something that did not end up on our list last year because I think it was announced later, but something that was brought to my attention that I read in November was Hamilton's Battalion, which is a trio of romances set in Revolutionary War era. And this is fun because it is Rose Lerner, Courtney Milan, and Alyssa Cole. And what's fun about this is it's not a very... It's Hamilton's Battalion, but it's from like 3 very different perspectives. So Rose Lerner writes about a Jewish couple. And like they were married and they got separated and he thinks she's dead. And then he finds her fighting with Hamilton's army at the Battle of Yorkshire. And then Courtney Milan writes a male-male romance, which is beautiful. It is also interracial. So that's very interesting to read. It's a very highborn British soldier who really didn't want to fight in the army, so he basically went MIA after a black fighter in Hamilton's battalion kind of like let him go. And then he's like, I'm going to pay you back for this. So he helps him return up to his family in Rhode Island. So they have a long journey from Virginia to Rhode Island on foot, and they get to know each other along the way. And then Alyssa Cole writes a beautiful tale about 2 Black women. One works for the Hamiltons, and she's been helping write down the memories of Alexander Hamilton for Elizabeth Hamilton, and she meets a dressmaker who just gives her all the sparkly feelings, and that is a female romance. So I really thoroughly enjoyed reading it. It's just some little novellas, but the writing is super, and if you want to give that a shot, give it a shot. And it came out last year, so it's not on our list. It's more just a bonus because Zoe was talking about fun things that authors were doing, and I just remembered this book, and I wanted to share it.
That is fabulous, and you should not throw away your shot at that book. Hey. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. And I'm actually going to just mention that was actually published in 2017. So,
it was. Oh, okay.
Hey.
Well, I only learned about it last year. So,
hey, and many people are probably just learning about it now. And I just want to say thank you, listeners, for hanging in with us. This is our first episode that Sarah joined us for. So I don't know how the audio quality is going to turn out because I've kind of moved away from the mic a few times and she's been fussing a little bit. But hopefully it is okay and you'll forgive us. But we just appreciate you listening, and we hope you join us next week as we read Between the Devil and Ian Eversea.
And may all your ever afters end happily.
Tea and Strumpets is part of the Frolic Podcast Network. Find more podcasts you'll love at frolic.media/podcasts.
Hey everyone, it's Becky Feldman here, and I am too stupid to live. And do you want to hear something crazy? I also host a comedy podcast called Too Stupid to Live. How did that happen? I have no idea. Anyway, on Too Stupid to Live, I am joined by some hilarious guests where we review romance novels $5 and under. And we have covered the gamut of romantic fiction, from historical romances to dinosaur erotica, which, you know what, now that I think about it, I think that's like also a historical romance. Anyway, each episode, we go on this engaging journey. I've had Sarah McLean, the fabulous author, talking about the power of romance, to Nick Weiger of the Doughboys podcast, reading a sexy excerpt in the voice of Elizabeth Holmes. That one still gives me very sexy nightmares, but I just can't get enough. So TSTL puts out 2 episodes a month, and you can find it wherever you get your podcasts.